All right, welcome to my presentation today. Today I will give you an overview about our journey with Tableau at PVH. I hope that my presentation could inspire some of you and give you insights on how, if you're implementing Tableau at your company, how you could approach it. My name is Ricky Sidney. I work at PVH for 2.5 years, mainly in the area of BI. I'm primarily responsible for all the front-end tools. Tableau is one of those tools. Mainly responsible for exposing these tools to the business and allowing adoption and usage, and also exploring the data-driven culture within the company. So the objective of my session today is to give you the ability to learn how we introduced Tableau at PVH, some of the challenges that we faced during that introduction of Tableau, and how we are moving towards enabling our vision of self-service. For those of you who don't know who PVH is, I would like to just start off with a short video, just to give you an overview of PVH as a company, and then we'll get into the presentation.
So who is PVH? Well, we started over 130 years ago when Moses Phillips brought his family to America and began selling shirts to coal miners in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. If he only knew. After some time, he and his sons were given the opportunity to merge with another shirt company and build the business significantly, an opportunity they seized and a foreshadow of things to come. Their next big choice would shape our company's destiny as lightning struck with a revolutionary invention. To replace the stiff collar of the day, they bought the rights to an innovative soft collar design invented by John Van Heusen. The collar broke the mold and laid the groundwork for the company to become the greatest maker of dress shirts in America. The formula was clear. Adapt to the market, acquire to grow, invest in brands, and be a good partner. Global expansion was inevitable. All we needed were the rockets. Liftoff came with the acquisition of Calvin Klein, American modern, global icon. Tommy Hilfiger, the brand having a strong presence in Europe and the US, and Tommy himself, the epitome of classic American cool with a twist. Calvin and Tommy, modern and classic. The company was renamed to PVH Corp to honor its past and signal the new future. By 2013, we rise to become the second largest apparel company in the world, with revenues climbing, our global presence gaining, our financial reputation undeniable. With each step taken, the company has never lost sight of the fact that our success is directly due to the commitment of some of the most talented people in the world. Yes, we buy businesses to grow, but we know that it doesn't happen without respecting the individuality of our associates, valuing the power of global partnership, having passion and integrity in all we do, and by holding ourselves accountable to our communities and our stockholders alike. So who is PVH? We're more than 30,000 associates speaking 20 languages, generating over $8 billion a year in revenue across 40 countries, designing and sourcing hundreds of different products to sell at over 20,000 points of sale to millions of customers. But the journey started over 130 years ago, but could not continue today without the powerful brands we have. And you. Who is PVH? We are PVH.
Okay. I hope with this video you get a better idea of PVH as a company. Okay. Okay, so before I get into the content of my presentation, I would like to explain to you a little bit about what our BI strategy is as a company, so you can get familiar with that before we get into content. So basically, our BI strategy consists of various pillars. The first pillar being the possibility to provide the possibility for the organization to have the right actionable insights with the support of automated driven decisions. And the way we are fulfilling this goal as a company is by establishing what we call as a KPI framework. This is the ability for us to assess business performance and provide timely steering. The establishment of a single point of truth to build trusted data sources, allow people to use data that they trust, followed by establishing a reporting suite, a set of standard tools to address all reporting needs. In addition to that, we're also looking at the capabilities of establishing insights, predictive analysis, moving towards the future, and allowing our organization to make decisions based on predictions. And last but not least, the most important element is data quality. I'm sure many of you face this issue in the organization today on the quality of data. So we are working on establishing a data governance organization to ensure that we have proper data quality. This is an overview of what PVH landscape looked like before Tableau. So what is important to understand here is that we're predominantly a BW HANA landscape. So any of you who are in BW HANA, hopefully we could help you in making some decisions around Tableau. As you can see in the area of data discovery, this is the area that we're going to focus on today in our presentation. So you can see before Tableau, we had a few options around that area. Excel being, of course, the tool that never goes away. We had Power Pivot in our organization. And we also had ClickView, which is a strong competitor of Tableau as well. So with the current structure that we had prior to Tableau, we had multiple front-end tools, which are often used for similar purposes. Some reports are built with a different database, different business logic as a result of these multiple tools. Combining data was very challenging because of the fact that everyone had different ways of doing this, and each tool has their own strengths at combining data. Also, lack of trust in the data. I'm sure many of you face this. Everyone builds their own point of truth within their own tool, and no one trusts anyone else's data, and they think that their data is the leading in all cases. So today, for us, data is the single most important asset to steer the business going forward. Coming from a past working with Excel, Access, spending hours of the day trying to combine data and build insights, where we are today is moving towards what is called consolidating data into a single platform, creating a single point of truth. And with the ability of this being implemented in our organization today, this has led to a lot of questions about the need to understand our data to make key decisions. And that journey doesn't stop there. In the future, in order for us to stay competitive, there's two components we need. Need for speed. Everyone wants the information today, right away, and as fast as possible. And last but not least, self-service. The business users want to have the ability to create insights by themselves, take control of their destiny, because they're the ones who best understand the data, and they don't want to have to depend on the BI department to produce results, because that takes a lot of time. So these are the three areas within our Tableau journey that we see as areas of focus. And I think throughout this presentation, we'll discuss steps and ways of how Tableau have helped us establish these specific results around these different options. So some of the key questions today that our business users are asking: are my purchase orders arriving in time in the warehouse? Can I identify which products are selling better during the season so I can maximize my sales? I would like to get insights on how much collection size, or how my collection size are developing over time against my targets. Are we on track to achieve our financial gross sales targets? Which divisions or markets require my attention? All of these questions are being asked by our business users today. And this has only specified that there's a need for data visualization and insight into our data. And this is basically where our Tableau journey begins. So our Tableau journey begins with the question of how can we get Tableau to help us get insights into our data to move towards our goals as self-service. Now this journey consists of various steps, which I'll discuss next on what we took to get to that point. The first point that we took in this journey, which is a typical point that everyone usually take when they introduce Tableau the first time, is a proof of concept. We want to see that Tableau is able to deliver what we want. It's an investment for the company, and we want to ensure that if we invest in a tool, that this is the right tool to deliver our business benefits. And of course, in a proof of concept, you want to compare against other tools and other competitors in the market which provide similar functionality. So in our case, we compare against Power BI, ClickView, Lumira, and different tools, because those are all tools in the market that provide data visualization insights. During the proof of concept, we establish certain criteria which we compare against other vendors in the market, and we make analysis based on what are the strengths and the weaknesses of each tool. Keeping in fact that we have certain objectives from the business and IT as a whole on which we want to achieve from a specific self-service BI tool. So typically you see here around the business is more around the self-service part about visualization, ease of use, speed to market, and the insight capabilities and how to explore and analyze your data. From an IT perspective, of course, we're going to support this system. We want to be able to have ability to ensure that the system is robust enough to expand and scale when needed. Also, the monitoring capabilities to enforce adaptation to the software with the business. And also the ease of managing the software. I think that's really key, again, for IT. So after we did the proof of concept, these are the results. Here we can see that Tableau was overall the best tool of choice based on our criteria. However, that being said, it doesn't mean that we didn't face challenges on the way. So what I want to expose to you next is some of the challenges that we face when we try to explore if Tableau was the right tool for us. Again, one of the points to mention again is we're predominantly SAP HANA shops, so we're going to focus on the functionality within that data warehouse. So some of the challenges that we have is we predominantly use BW extensively for our finance users. And within our finance environment, we have extensive large hierarchies. For those of you who don't know what hierarchies is, it's basically aggregating your data at different levels. And within the report, you can show different levels of data. And within PVH, for example, in the case of finance, we have a lot of different type of accountants and groupings of accountants. And when we try to put that in Tableau with a BW connection, we ran into some issues in performance. It takes very long to open in certain cases. And that was due to some of the issues that Tableau also had initially connecting to BW as a source. It's a very problematic connection, and we have acknowledged that at the beginning, although which I could explain in the future that there were some improvements to that. But at the point in the proof of concept, this was one of the driving factors for us, especially for finance. And also another ability that we use extensively in our BW source is text variables. So basically text variables is basically displaying a selection that you make in the query within the text. So Tableau doesn't inherit that information within once you make a connection to BW. So that was also a challenge for the adoption from the finance perspective. Handling of complex calculations with live connections. What we have seen is that some people are used to creating a large amount of complex calculation without establishing this in the data warehouse. So when they try to create this in Tableau on the fly, sometimes we have complications with performance because it's trying to process too much complications within the front-end tool. So that's also another challenge that we face. From a functional perspective, we also have some challenges. One of the challenges is the initial data preparation capabilities. I know yesterday we had some nice results in the keynotes about the possibilities of that now, but during our proof of concept that wasn't there. Getting familiar with new tools and resistant to change. I think this is very common for everyone. People are used to their tool, their playground, and very resistant to change. So we didn't see any difference with Tableau as well. People have their protective spots with tools, and when you try to bring a new tool, they are very sensitive towards that. Convincing users to think visually instead of large tables. So I see a lot of people smiling. This is a very common way of how people, especially in finance, of course, they love their tables, they love their pivots. It's hard to get that rid from them. So we didn't see any difference, again, with the proof of concept with that. And misusing the tool for the wrong purpose. I think this is also key. Some people in our case try to use Tableau to create their fixed format reports in Excel in Tableau just because it looks nice visually. So people try to sell that as an opportunity to do that. And some people try to create reports in such a way that is more high-level KPI, but that's not the power of the tool. And we try to discourage. I mean, you could do a lot of things in Tableau, but what is the benefit of using the tool for that limited purpose when there's a lot more potential that you can do with the tool? So again, it's a cultural change when we introduce Tableau in the organization as well. Some of the key developments we had today for us is that we limit the use of large BW hierarchies in Tableau. So in the case of hierarchies, we try to find solutions where we, there's solutions within Tableau where you could do to flatten your hierarchy and build it up. But in some cases, if you don't have to use it, we try to limit it as much as possible. Some of the lessons we have learned also, generating HANA views off BW. Those are also some potential ways of getting the functionality that, because BW is an OLAP source, of course, and HANA is more relational. So if you want to have the ability to be more flexible with your data, this is also one of the options that we use quite a lot, is to generate a HANA view off a BW query. Pushing complex calculation to the data warehouse. This is a big problem for us in a lot of cases because what you see before Tableau, a lot of users try to do everything themselves within their tool and they don't really share it with the BI department. And there's a lot of large potential benefits if we could develop that solution in the data warehouse for them. It will make their work much more easier. So with the introduction of Tableau, we also have this, which you'll see later in the presentation, this user community where we have dialogue with these users, and because of that and the openness that we have with the users now, we're able to share these type of issues and try to take steps to address them as soon as possible. So basically now that the Tableau prep is available, we also want to look at the possibilities around that. Keeping in mind that within our organization, we want to make it as simple as possible that people don't have to logically think of how to combine data, how to join data. We want to make it as simple as possible. So we need to investigate if this is a tool we want to give to end users or not. So, involvement of users during the proof of concept was also a key development for us because again, this also build up adoption, build up acceptance to the tool because when people are involved, they could express their needs, their ideas, and we could take that into consideration and create a win-win for everyone. And also the capabilities to visualize data, reduce the need for large tables. So during the proof of concept, we also compare against the tables and the visualization of data to also show the business the differences of how you could easily interpret the information instead of looking at a humongous table. So I think this was also something nice that Tableau has, the possibility to process this large amount of data and produce intuitive results as a result of this. In addition to this, we have also established what we call a report and decision tree, because like we said before, the challenges of misusing tools. So we try to make it clear as possible what we want to use Tableau for and what we don't want to use it for. And this was basically an end to prevent the misuse of the tool and the user not being satisfied because the tool cannot fulfill their needs. So after the proof of concept, we wanted to be 100% sure that Tableau is the tool for us. Typically when you do a proof of concept, usually you see a lot of good things, but you need to actually put this into practice. Get the exposure in the business, allow them to use it, allow them to build up experience. So after our proof of concept, we did what we call a trial program. So we ran a trial program for a few months just to allow some users in a selected group of users to build some dashboards, allow the BI department to do the maintenance, the administration of the server, so we could build up experiences as well. So again, like I said, the goal is the knowledge experience, creating visualizations, and the server management concept. So within the proof of concept, we involved a few departments, mainly e-com, central operations, and the IT department. These are departments that are very data-driven. So I think it was for exposing Tableau to them was a really benefit for us because they really want to see the benefits of what Tableau could provide for them as a whole. And these were departments that were struggling with data at the beginning. So if we could get these departments to adapt and understand the value of Tableau, they could be ambassadors to us to roll this out to a larger base. As you can see, also the IT department is involved, again, to create that collaboration between the IT department and the business, and also to build a collaborative effort from each other. Of course, during the trial period, we also had learning experiences. So some of the learning experiences that we had during our trial periods is a clear definition on how to use Tableau within the business and for what purpose. What we see is a lot of people, again, like I said before, the typical Excel always comes back. So this is the first thing that people do. They try to replace what they have in Excel, display large amounts of data in tables. Just that you know also, even with this displaying of large amounts of data, there's also a limitation in Tableau itself as 16 columns. So also to prevent users from experiencing that type of situations, we try to inform them up front of what the capabilities are and what the limitations are so they don't go towards that way of thinking. Of course, this results in large performance issues because you have millions and millions and millions of records displayed on one screen. And as you can see, if you do that, it's not meaningful to make any decision. So sometimes also challenging the business to ask them the question, is this meaningful? What is the added value of this? And a lot of times they'll come back to you, well, they don't really have an answer in a lot of cases. Also trying to use Tableau as a one-size-fits tool that fits all purposes. Again, like I said before, Tableau is a very powerful tool, a lot of functionality, a lot of possibilities, but you're going to run into an issue down the line that is limited against. So to prevent that, we try to really have that focus on what we want to use it for. Another lessons that we learn is that we see a lot of people spending a lot of time trying to create joins, ETL. I know that this is typically possible in Tableau, and they have also worked very rigorously to simplify the way this is done, to take this away from the user. For us as an end user, we also try to limit this as much as possible. Reason being is that a lot of times people make incorrect joins, and of course that has negative impact on your ERP system. And you don't want to have that because then it's a big issue for your business. So as much as we can limit this as possible and also provide the data sources that already has these joins from the BI department and the user can use that, I think this is a very important aspect to follow. And last but not least, the fixed formatting reports. So what we see here is that of course this looks nice in Tableau, of course. You have your filters on top. You could filter easily and see all your data. But what we have experienced with such a report in our organization is that the users mainly just download the data and start playing in Excel again. So I create that situation again where the user is just going to download the data because now in Tableau you could bring your data together in one place. It's even better for the user to download it in Excel because now they don't have to connect all of these other sources. So they just download it and start doing their thing again. So again, we want to limit that because we want to use the tool to its full potential and allow people to develop analysis with the tool and understand their data. In addition to that, developing a reporting tree to educate the users on what tools used for what purpose. So for us as an organization, we have developed a tree like this. So typically, like I said, we're a SAP shop, so we have few SAP tools, mainly Lumira Designer, Web Intelligence, Analysis for Office, and now Tableau. And this is how we inform our business on what's the right tool to use for the right purpose. Another key experiences during the startup period is to start small and build up experience to a larger group. So what we see here is that in our trial period, we involve our BI department, a Tableau ambassador. So it's good to find someone in the business who's really intrigued about data as the person to drive your Tableau objective. And a selected group of users, because in the end, the information and the analysis that you produce is going to go to these users. So it's good that you build up experience and get feedback from them as well during this process. And of course, the idea of this is to develop guidelines. So with each tool, there's a lot of flexibility. It could become very creative and very chaotic. So you want to have firm guidelines based on what you have learned. Establish best practice. What you might run into is a lot of issues on things that might work for you and things that might not work for you. So by experiencing this, you could already come up with best practices on how you should use the tool and how you should implement certain functionality. Ensure that the authorization and permission is set up. For those of you who work with the server, if you don't have your permissions and authorization set up correctly the first time and you change that completely, it's a lot of maintenance to go back to adjust that. So it's very important that you sit down and establish with the business how you want to set up your structure and set it up once and set it up correctly. Or set it up small, start off with that, and then if that works for you, then you expand. Also to build a user community with Tableau. So what we see with Tableau, of course, the tool, once you start using it, it builds a lot of excitement within the business. So that excitement is positive energy for everyone. So having the users and their feedback and the collaborating together can help promote that and also provide the opportunity to expand to a larger group of users. Another lesson that we learn is to keep your structure simple to prevent a lot of maintenance. So here's what we have is we create our structure on a very high level. So basically we have department, divisions, and countries. Within those departments, of course, you have deeper levels. But for us, providing information to these areas, we don't have any strict restriction to really prevent people from seeing the data. So within the Tableau, we keep our structure very simple. And again, like I said before, it's to prevent a lot of maintenance, having to set permissions on all these levels, and again, restricting people from seeing certain things. When the added benefit is to allow people to see information and analyze it and deep dive into the data to get insights. And when possible, I think the ability to use user filters, because in theory, with SAP especially, a lot of your authorization is being developed within BW or HANA itself. So of course, you don't want to double invest and have to rebuild that whole situation in Tableau. So if you could utilize authorization either via live connections or via user filters, that could also limit the additional work that you have to do and try to create a double authorization structure in Tableau as well. And of course, for us, we use Active Directory. So utilizing Active Directory groups as a way to drive the authorization is also a way to simplify grouping users into specific projects or specific groups. So now, after our trial period was successful and all the lessons learned that we has established, we decided in May of 2007 to purchase an 8-core license. And this is really where Tableau take off for us, because now we can really share the added benefits and all the nice insights and visuals that the business have built to the rest of the organization. So with the implementation of this 8-core license, I'd like to give you a little exposure of how our environment is today. So our infrastructure consists of Tableau desktop users. Mainly we use Tableau desktop as a for development. So this is where all development starts in this case. And of course we have a QA server, which is mainly driven for user acceptance, and a production server. And this is basically just to go through the typical life cycle of development products and roll them to production in a structured way. Security, we keep it simple, Active Directory. Like I said before, if you have possibilities to create something deeper, you could use the user filters. And also for our Tableau server. At this point, we have an 8-core server with 64 gigs and 120 gigs of RAM. And of course, we monitor this carefully every time to see if there's ability to scale up or if needed or not. From a content perspective, we have about 20 users for desktop. And this is mainly a combination of central developers in our BI department and a few users from self-service. And this is predominantly because of the fact that our driven for self-service, what you will see at the end, is mainly via the web edit, and that's what we want to encourage as much as possible. So we have a few developers in the business exploring the potential of what we can do to get to that point. And of course, we have a few departments using Tableau already. So again, once Tableau was introduced to the business, all the excitement has give us the ability to roll it out in such a fast pace and expose it to a large amount of departments over a short period of time. And typically today we have about 1,300 plus users that are active on the Tableau server. There's still a lot of potential to grow. About 22 publishers, 65 workbooks, 252 views, and data sources, which is mainly a combination of centrally managed trusted data source, and in some cases a few ad hoc data sources, and those are more in between data sources until we are able to bring those data sources into our data lake. So that provides a little flexibility that we could continue to do things, and also the close collaboration with the BI department to take the initiative to bring that into central data warehouse. So also users and adoption. We have created some nice dashboards. I think some of you may know with the PostGRIP database that Tableau have internally, you're able to create some analysis on usage. So for ourselves, we also create some usage to see the adoption rate and see the growth. As you can see here, what is kind of interesting, of course, is you see the big spike here. And this was a result, we had a big initiative within our company to consolidate our data warehouses. So we had Oracle, SAP, and some other data warehouses. So in the end of May, we had taken the step to consolidate all into a HANA data warehouse. And as you can see now that the data is in one source, the spike in growth in Tableau have grown tremendously in the month of June. Because now people have the data in one place, they don't have to combine it from many different sources. And they trust the data more because now it's coming from one place. So the benefit again of having a single point of truth and also making that available to your users to use in Tableau can drive the ability to grow. And of course, there's also some dashboards, which I don't have here, that you could see if usage is going down or up, and that's also a driver for us to take action to help improve the usage on that perspective. So now that we have successfully implemented Tableau, we have made Tableau our single tool of choice for data discovery. So now this has also significantly simplified our landscape. Of course, you still have users who still use Excel. That's not going to go away. But at least they have a tool that they know that they can go to and they can start using. And over time, I expect that the usage would increase and people will become quite happy with the possibilities that we have within Tableau. So that was a little bit about our infrastructure. What I want to talk about next is the next step that we took to also make the exposure of Tableau and adopt corporate standards within our organization. As a fashion company, like you see, we thrive on things looking good. So we also want to have a consistent look and feel across all our reports. Also, not only look and feel, but also the way we identify certain objects within Tableau. For example, how we analyze actuals, how we analyze revenues. We have a single look color for those analysis, a single way of representing the data. And this also triggers the fact that everyone, once they see a Tableau dashboard, they will fully understand how it's used and what the data is meant. So design principles. So like I said, to provide standardization in developing dashboards. Some of the key elements is the general layout, a standard layout that we use for all our dashboards. Consistency and introductory. So all our introduction pages have the same the same type of data being displayed. So any dashboard you go to has a cover page with the same relevant information about that dashboard. Style and logos, color templates, and typography is also consistent across all dashboards. Naming conventions, of course. You don't want to create a lot of chaos in your Tableau server, so we try to keep a consistent naming convention so we can easily find information that we need. In addition to that, we also have what we call, this is how our cover page looks. So in addition to the basic information, we try to also provide information to the business up here, which we could allow them, in our case, to see exactly what process within the development lifecycle within the company that we're addressing. So again, more information and utilizing the power of Tableau from a visual perspective to also drive the business to think about what value this report is providing to them and which process is addressing. In addition to that, we also have a second page which we define user stories. I think this has been very powerful for us because, again, the users could easily click on this using the interactivity amount within Tableau, just clicking on these links. They could jump to specific parts in the dashboard which really answer those questions. And that's really providing simplicity and ability for the users to also increase adoption of the report as well. And with these two elements, we have a design with a purpose and meaning. Yeah. So now the good stuff. I would like to display a little bit of some of our products that we have delivered in Tableau so far and some of the success stories. So as you remember before, I mentioned some of these questions, so they are coming back now. So again, getting insights into collection size to see how they're developing over time. What Tableau have provided for this user is the benefit is that they're now able to see in more details what is happening over time and analyze the impact to the process. They can easily get into details. In the past, they wasn't able to do that. They wasn't able to drill down to that specific level to get the information that they require. And with this input, they could have valuable input during their evaluation meetings to make key decisions on how they move forward with the collection sizes. So this is the dashboard that we created. So in this dashboard, what we can see here is that we have what is a reference line here, and we have the actuals here. And with this information, you can clearly see that we are achieving above target, which is pretty good. But however, that doesn't mean that everything is all good and smooth. Here we can see that at the end of the development, the collection lifecycle, someone is trying to add new products. And of course, this is a risk to us because when you try to add these new products at the end of the cycle, we don't have enough time to develop them, and therefore they won't be given out to the community in time. So again, with the insights that we have in Tableau, we could take action and we can see these analysis and we could inform the counterpart who's doing this to take actions and to prevent this. Clearly in the last slide here, we can see a spike in cancellations. And what that tells you is basically we're producing a product that the market doesn't like. So we can take action early in the phase of development to try to limit the production of this product because we see that it results in a lot of cancellations. So I think this is powerful insights for the divisions to make key decisions to help to prevent the misuse or the over-allocation of products that are not doing well. Another example is how do I get insights into my purchase orders that arrive in the warehouse, into the warehouse on time. Here we have produced a dashboard that basically in the past we have encountered a lot of planning issues. So basically we didn't have any control of all the products being handled throughout the warehouse. We didn't have transparency on that. But now with Tableau and what we have developed, the users in the warehouse could take proactive actions to help manage the resources effectively so that the resources are available to take action to ensure that the products go out of the warehouse on time. So with this, we have produced this dashboard. And here you can see basically we have a variation of split on the different shipment types. So it's clear here we can see the difference between what's going by air, what's going by freight, what's going by ship, and the percentage. Of course, you want to reduce the amount going by air as much as possible because that costs a lot more. And here you can see your comparisons against your targets. So you can see basically here where your target is set as 95% and basically you're operating at 86%. So with that, you can take action. Maybe to achieve the targets, you might want to send some product by air. Because again, in the end, you want to achieve your targets and you have potential insight to see where you can take action to achieve that. Here you can also see the allocation. What we have here on the left is just the concept of this drop dates. This is basically throughout the cycle of shipping products, we have different time of the month that we deliver products. And the warehouse needs to be aware of this so they can have the allocated resources to be able to handle the workload. So clearly in this example, we can see that in the first month, there's a huge spike of 54% being delivered, and then the other months is much smaller. So as a result of this, there will be resources planning issues because we didn't foresee the large spike in the data at the beginning of the month. Also, in addition to this, of course, you have clear functionality within Tableau to filter on different levels of the data. In our case, division, vendor, product groups, and different styles. So you can look at data at all angles and analyze your inbound flow. The next example we have is within our consumer insights department. And they are also interested in really seeing where the potential is to maximize growth on specific products that we are selling in the market. So basically, we have two views that we've developed for them. Now they're able to get insight into what the end consumer is buying, like yourself. So they have insight to see what you like, what you don't like, so we could take decisive action to target you with the right products. We also have the ability to see how we can plan for future seasons. So we can see if we are allocating too much products at a specific, for a specific style that is only achieving a small percentage of revenues. And with those products, we could take action to try to reduce providing so much products for such a small revenue count. So this is a dashboard that we produce in this case. So here we can see, basically, we can see what is the most popular product in our case. Also, what is nice in Tableau is we can also see pictures. So we have a dynamic link in which we can see the pictures. So that's also nice and transparent for the different users. We also have the ability to see products that are selling well in only few stores. So this is a large potential for us to expand to a large amount of stores. In addition to this, of course, we can see here the products that are not selling well. Maybe we should discontinue these products because they're not doing that well. But now that with Tableau, of course, we have exposure to see which ones. You can imagine we have thousands of products, and to see this analysis is very difficult if you don't have the right tool to provide this analysis. And also, potentially, we could see products that are selling well, that are not selling well, but are available in a lot of stores. So over allocation of products in our stores. Maybe you want to reduce the inventory there. Yeah. So in addition to this, we also have this dashboard, the style Careto, and this is mainly driven to help us to manage our collection sizes and allocation. So within this dashboard here, you can clearly see that polos are the most popular products. I see quite a lot of people are wearing polos today. This is one of our top sellers, of course. And on the left side, what we see here is the allocation for sales and the number of styles that's used to accommodate the sales. So basically, the blue represent 80% of the sales here. The gray represent the next 15%, and the black represent the bottom 5%. So clearly, with this example here, what you can see with shirts, you can see that for 5% of the sales, about 80% of different styles are allocated just for 5% of the sales. So in this case, this is not good because we might want to reduce the amount of styles that we have in the market that's only accounting for 5% because we could potentially target better opportunities to grow our margins. So again, with these dashboards, they have clear insights on how they can manage their collection sizes during the seasons. Last but not least, we also have a dashboard around how do we track our gross sales against our targets for the current fiscal period. And what's interesting about this example, this is an example that we built for finance. Again, people who are very used to a lot of tables, who doesn't want to give up their Excels and stuff like that. So we have taken small steps to allow us to provide some visualizations and insights for finance users as well to promote adoption of the tool as well. So now in the past, this was a report that someone spends a lot of time creating, trying to put all this information together in Excels with a lot of pivots and VB scripts, which is typical in a lot of organizations like ours and others as well. But of course, with the power of Tableau, it's more interactive. You can really see where you are. You can drill down to the data. You can see trends quite easy. And it also takes away the large amount of work that this person is spending on the fixed format and pivot reports. And they can also see the data in real time. So it's a live connection. So this is the dashboard that we have produced for finance. So here on this dashboard, we could clearly see our gross sales against our targets. So we have different color codes that represent that. We also have an overview of what we have in the warehouse that's ready to be shipped, what's work in progress. So that's also the full insight of the whole life cycle of where products are within the life cycle. Here we can see that basically, for this example here on the first line for our Tommy business, we can see that the blue represent the gross sales, the white represent what's ready to be shipped, and the gray represent what's work in progress. So in theory, if we take action and contact customer service to help get these products out of the warehouse, we have potential to reach our target. Because clearly we have enough products available to be shipped, and we have a lot of products in progress. So this is a good thing. And we can clearly see that, and we can take action to address the needs around this. However, here we can also see products that we probably won't meet their targets. So example, in this case here, there's a specific country which has a small amount of profit. However, they have a limited amount of products in progress. And you can see here where the reference line is, right over here. So there's no way possible that they would ever achieve this. And in this case here, we need to adjust our planning accordingly. So maybe we over-allocate our targets higher than we expected. But at least now we have the insight to see that this is way off, and we can make adjustments to adjust the targets for the next season. In this dashboard also, you can see overall, we are 1% above targets. So in general, we're doing well. However, there's still potential for improvement, and we can clearly see this with our Tableau dashboard, where we can improve and where we can adjust. So those were examples of some of the products. So now we're back to our timeline, where we took the next step in our journey after the successful implementation of some of these dashboards. Currently, between now and September, we are working on establishing a user community. So indirectly, we talk to people all the time. We try to get together, but we want to make this an official part of our day-to-day. So this is the next step for us, to have this user committee where we could share best practices, build up insights and reputation around the business, and also expose Tableau and usage among the business. So for us, some of the benefit that the user community will provide, which we have already seen to some extent, is the ability to share knowledge and experience, and sessions where we could also, because what we see in our organization, there's people on different levels of knowledge within Tableau. And this is really an opportunity where we could bring people together and share the knowledge gap and help achieve everyone on the same level and same possibilities within Tableau. In addition to that, of course, establish best practices. We learn things every day. We learn what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Having an official way to document this and make it available for everyone who's developing, whether the new users coming into the organization or existing users who may be doing things the wrong way. And also by establishing this meeting on a periodical basis, we could also discuss this and see where we can improve it. And I think one of the powerful things that we have been working on so far, again with the BI department and the business users, the close collaboration we have seen. We have experienced quite some issues in the past around some of the cases where certain data sources are not optimized or not developed the right way. But the excitement and the ability that we bring these two teams together and they see the need of how they can help each other has significantly helped us in the growth of Tableau as well. Last but not least, we also want to, in order to grow our user community, we want to establish some quarterly meetings where we have some doctor sessions like we have here with some people in our organization who is more expert in Tableau than others. And also the ability to learn new tips and tricks. Like we see with Tableau, it's progressing over time. There's a lot of new things that's coming out. It's also a good opportunity for us to come together and learn about that and maybe see where we could improve certain things. So, as I said, this user committee is something that we're working on. The objective is to have something in place by September where we could continue on a periodical basis and go forward. And then our goal at the end, of course, like I said before where we started, is self-service. Within the self-service arena, this is a very tough topic for us, of course, because it's a massive change to the organization. People are used to being fed with information and not taking action to be more creative. And it's also a cultural change for us to also embed that DNA within the organization. So we're working closely with our Tableau ambassadors within our user community to help to push that way of working within the business. And I must say that over time, there's a lot of functionality within Tableau that can enable us to do that. And that's what I want to show you next. So basically, we have a vision around self-service BI, around 4 components: productivity, again, allowing users to take proactive action to build their own reports, answer their own questions. Flexibility, giving the user a tool that's flexible, that they're able to combine their own data, make their own decisions, make their own analysis. Predictability, I think this is also a very important one, which a lot of people don't do at this point, is trying to be more analytic and more forward-thinking and taking the ability to predict things and take actions before they happen. So I think that's also something we want to have within a self-service tool. And simplicity, of course. We don't want to have to train thousands of users how to use a tool. We want to have a tool that's simple enough that people could just pick up and after a few months learn from it. And again, by establishing the user community, this is also helping us to build up the adoption and the usage. So again, I think this is traditionally known for a lot of people, even within our organization. When you need a report built, you basically have to go to the BI department. They have to plan it. And of course, with this way of working, typically what we see is your BI department is overloaded with requests. The user spends a large amount of time explaining the request. That's because the users know best what they want. However, in the BI department, maybe they don't understand the concept, they don't understand the business. So a lot of time is spent on that. And of course, within the BI departments, there's priorities. I want my stuff today, but hey, I have 10 other requests in the front of you, and this has priority. I mean, that doesn't build satisfaction for the business users because they want the information now. And of course, again, this creates a lot of frustration for us and also for the business. And I think this typical of way, in the end, is not sustainable. If we want to be competitive, like I showed before, the need for speed and self-service, this way of working is not compatible in our industry today. So how do we see self-service and how Tableau could help us get to self-service? So within our organization, there are different types of users. Users are mainly the BI department. We have a power user / key user and end user. Power users / key users are very interoperable. It depends on the size of our sales organization. Power users are more technically savvy, but also data-driven. Key users are really business analysts within the business who are really data-driven. Not as technical as power users, but we have a combination of those users, and we try to have them interact with each other as much as possible. Within our BI department, we have certain objectives that we would like to achieve for self-service. Basically, the objectives of each of these users is to provide trusted data. That's on the BI department part. For the key users / power users is to understand, analyze data, and of course for the end users to consume data. And how we want to do that is for the BI department, establish a single point of truth, provide governance, and promote uses and adoption. From a key user and power user perspective, we want to increase productivity by creating insights the right way. Access the data, which is really key. Data is always the most important element. Having your hands on it and having the ability to start doing analysis is really key for us, especially for the power users and key users who wants to be able to answer questions quickly. Improve agility and respond faster to change. Now that you have a tool and the data sources that you can easily access, whenever there's ad hoc questions, you can easily answer it on the fly. You don't have to wait for the BI department. And allow the business to focus on the BI department to focus on other initiatives. So they might have other initiatives that have stronger priorities over what you provide in, but now you have the ability to do stuff on your own that also provides opportunity. So it's a win-win for them to also focus on other bigger initiatives, maybe introduction of a new tool or other tool or enhancement to Tableau or 2008.2, look into the initiatives around that and the ability. And of course for the consumer part, we wanted to have make more data-driven decisions. So now that you have the insight and the power of Tableau to provide those insights to your data, they can make data-driven decisions. And we also want to have the possibility for them to experiment with their data. I mean, again, they know the data better than us, and if they have an environment where they could explore, then they become more data-driven as a result of that. And also the ability to share insights. Again, creating a collaborative environment where people who develop certain analysis, they can easily share it with the rest of the business users as well. So, so how can Tableau help us enable self-service? So around these different objectives. So I think around the single point of truth, there's ability in Tableau now to certify data sources. So by making this more transparent to users, we could also build up trust that these are data sources that we approve, they're certified, they're the truth. So again, that would encourage more usage because people don't have to compare against other data sources. Within our governance part, we have the ability to set permissions on different levels. So based on our organizational need, we can control that. So within the server, Tableau server itself, you have the possibility to manage that. And I think, like I showed earlier, the ability to monitor usage and with a PostgreSQL database and also to promote adoption of the tool. I think that's very important because a lot of times with other tools, you can't really see how it's being used or if it's being used. And again, if you invest a lot of time and effort and money into a new tool, you want to be able to monitor that and also encourage the usage around that. On the power user, key user side, of course, the ability to create insight quickly and easy with a limited amount of training, that's the power that you have within Tableau. And that's quite nice because, again, the users now could take proactive steps in creating their own analysis when they think of brilliant ideas. Access to trusted data and the ability to add local data. I think that's available within the Tableau desktop now, so you can easily do that. Respond to change faster, process large amounts of data quickly, and turn around information into meaningful visualization. So now they have the ability to just basically, whenever a question is asked, just pull the information together and create something quick and dirty, and allow them to expand on that with Tableau itself. On the consumer data side, so basically what I meant by data-driven is now with the insights that we have in Tableau, people can take the ability to identify opportunities for improvements. So as we see in some of our examples before, with the products that we show, people can take actions to help improve and make decisions on how they could better pursue opportunities as well. Of course, the ability to utilize the web edit functionality to do more further deep dives. So you could copy what people already produce and analyze it more. Again, moving towards self-service and having the ability to do that yourself. And the ability to develop stuff in your own personal space, kind of a sandbox environment. So based on all of these objectives and what Tableau can provide for us and what our self-service opportunities are, I would say that most of these opportunities is covered in the current version of Tableau, except 2 of them, which we are still waiting for before we can fully move to self-service. And it's more around this part here, which I saw in one of the keynotes that is now possible via the web edit. Now you can add external data sources and start to do further analysis. So again, that brings us one step closer to our goals. And also the ability to have personal spaces within the Tableau server. That's one of our strong needs, which we have expressed to Tableau as well, that we would like to have. So people have a more sandbox for themselves to do things instead of polluting the whole server. So to summarize our points today from our journey, I would like to leave some keywords of our journey, what we achieved, and what are some of the keywords. So of course you can see proof of concept, try it for yourself. So that's why we did a trial program. See that it works for you, understand how it works for your organization, how to integrate it. Empowering the users, being part of this journey would only result in adoption and usage and having them more comfortable in accepting the tool. The best practices, of course, learn from each other, see ways for improvement. User community is also a big one. The more you incorporate and build that community, the more exposure you will have in the users adapting Tableau within your organization. And self-service, like we all want to go to self-service because there's huge potential in that, putting the power of data in the right people's hands. And last but not least, collaboration, team building, also building the satisfaction between your BI departments and end users. So these are the key points that I have, and I can say with these key points, this has led us to the way of driving our organization to a data-driven self-service organization. That's all I have. So I'll take questions now. We plan to upgrade to the 2000.8 now that we see all the new functionalities and potentials.
Was there a big difference? Because you did the proof of concept in 9.4.
Yeah.
With connecting to SAP.
Yeah.
And also getting the hierarchies.
Yeah.
How did that change?
Well, typically for the finance part, we have decided to use web intelligence or analysis for Office because that's more SAP finance driven. Gradually, like I said, we're trying to transition a little bit more away from hierarchies and fixed tables, more into visuals. And we have to take that step slowly with the finance users because they're used to these hierarchies. I think with this gross sales dashboard that I show is the first step for them to see the potential of what they can do with visualizing their data instead of looking at large tables. So in a way, that might eliminate itself because now you have the ability to make it more visual than more table-driven. So we hope that that would trigger a different way of thinking.
So by presenting it differently, you have a solution to the technical problem?
Well, it's definitely something that we ask Tableau all the time, right? But the problem that we hear from Tableau itself is that it's a very trouble connection, BW, and is also the possibility that SAP doesn't provide the functionality for them to do that. But like I said, every tool has limitations. Not every tool is perfect, but if you could drive the user into the right way of using the tool, which is mainly for data visualization and deep diving into data, then that could provide a possibility for them to adapt to Tableau, or if not, and if they need that hierarchy, then we have clearly in our reporting tree what is the right tool for that. Okay. I think I have to end here, but we can speak outside if you have additional questions. Okay? Thank you.